Yes, we are live on YouTube right now. Welcome, the
Yay!
amazing Brian.
Yay!
Welcome, everyone. All right, so without much further ado, let me introduce the amazing Brian. So if you know Brian, you know that he is on Instagram as VIPKId underscore Brian. If you're not already following him, you should, because if you need a break from your day and you need to laugh, and nowadays with the pandemic, it's like it's good to laugh, right? It's good to find things to laugh. He has got great teaching clips, and so he's going to talk a little bit about not only his teaching clips, but also his VIPKId journey and why he went into it and what he's doing, and he's met a lot of his students, so I'm kind of jealous here. It's like I'm just green with envy. All right, Brian, go ahead and introduce yourself. Why did you get into VIPKId, and tell us a little bit more about when you did it, and a number of classes that you've taught. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, first of all, I appreciate the intro. Thanks for having me on. Like the praise and whatnot. I just think, to be honest, I just think I'm just an average person, average teacher that tries to do, I guess, maybe above average things, and meeting students and trying to post above average content. Well, geez, it's hard to fathom, really, like just thinking about it. I mean, 4 years ago, I was teaching in Korea. I was a teacher in Korea from 2011 to 2016. And
Okay.
when I was nearing the end of my contract at the end of 2016, I had no desire to get back into the classroom anymore.
Wow.
I was actually going to transition back to the States. I'm from Portland. So I
Okay.
was transitioning back to Portland late 2016. And I remember I was traveling for a few weeks. And I remember before crashing one night, for some reason, I just decided to check my spam inbox. I don't know why.
Your spam box.
Yeah, but I checked it and I saw something about like teach online with VIPKId, and I'm like, I didn't think anything of it, and I crashed, and then I went back to the States late 2016.
Oh, you did come back. Okay.
I did, because I was going to transition and come back for good. That was my plan.
Okay.
As I said, I had no desire to step back into the classroom anymore. I think I just got kind of burned out. Just kind of got
Okay.
tired of teaching.
I totally
You know,
understand that.
yeah. So I tried looking for work for, I want to say, maybe 5 or 6 weeks, and I just got tired of putting in resumes, editing resumes. I had a few
Right.
interviews, but they didn't really go through, and I just got kind of got burned out
Right.
of doing that. And then I remember going back to that email and looking at it, and I'm like, well, what the heck? I'll just give this a try.
So
And
this is a spam email. So for them
yes,
to actually contact you, they must have gotten your email somewhere.
yeah, exactly. I don't know if it was
Right.
through like ads or like, I have no idea.
Okay. All right.
But
Go ahead.
anyway, yeah, so I had to do 2 mock trials. I have no idea what the procedure is now in terms
Right.
of like applying and whatnot, but at the time you had to do one mock trial, and then if you didn't pass, then you had to do another one. And then if you failed that one, then I think you had to wait 3 to 6 months to reapply.
Right. So
So
just kind of like an insight. Like now, you apply, you do like a smart demo or recorded interview, and then you do a mock trial. And when I applied last year, I had like several chances. Like I only needed 2 mock trials, but you had several chances to be able. It was like a no fail zone at that time. But I think now they have changed it where you're only given, I think, 3 mock trials, and
okay.
then you got to wait like 3 to 6
Oh
months or
wow.
whatever. Yeah.
Okay, wow. Okay. Well, very different then.
Yes.
But yeah, and then I just thought it was going to be just a short time gig, to be honest with you. I thought.
Oh.
And then yeah, I started, I think, maybe first or second week of January 2017, and here I am 3.5 years later, almost 14,000 classes later, and I just find it just so hard to believe that I've stuck with it all this time and I've done what I've done. And but I feel very fortunate. I feel like throughout this whole time I've had a very low level of stress.
That's good.
I still enjoy to this day. I haven't had a day where I've woken up and said, you know what, I don't want to do this today. I don't wake up on Monday and feel like, oh my God, it's Monday. Or it's like I wake up on Friday, it's like, oh, hallelujah, that kind of feeling.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's good. Like I have, VIP is not perfect by any means. I think transparency is obviously like a big issue, especially right now with like how bookings have kind of seemingly tanked across the board.
Yes.
But I think, I think there's a lot of teachers out there, myself included, who are satisfied with.
So I have a question. You said you've taught like 14,000 classes, right? In the space of 3.5 years. Do you do this as a full-time gig or a part-time gig?
I've been steady full-time. So when I started around, I think Chinese New Year in 2017 for them.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I just kind of opened everything because at that time I wasn't doing anything. So the first 6 weeks I was on the West Coast, and I taught, I want to say, anywhere between 100 to 115 classes a week for the first 6 months.
Wow.
And I remember the 1 week I hit 115, I was like, never again. I know there's teachers though that do it on the West Coast and in the States, and they go upwards 120, 130, 140.
Right.
Much respect to them. You know, like it's hard.
So just point of clarification. You are no longer on the West Coast, right? You are in.
I am in South Korea.
Right. So you're teaching in real time, like
similar time zone.
Similar time zone. Only 1 hour difference, right? Only 1 hour.
Right. I'm no longer the little hamster on the hamster wheel.
Yes. So you get to sleep at the correct hour, and you get to wake up at the correct hour, and you're not really doing much damage to your body when you're doing it.
Exactly. Awesome. It was tough on the West Coast. So like I really respect those that they manage it, day in and day out, and they're able to teach the classes that they do.
I salute them because I've done overnights and a couple of months, and that was like, okay, that's enough. I don't think my body can take it anymore.
Yeah, it's rough, especially it's rough, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so this is your full-time gig, and you are living in South Korea, and so I'm assuming you teach the times of the day or any time that the kids are going to be taking classes. Like right now is practically any time that they're awake.
Essentially, right? Yes.
So did you work all day today?
So on weekdays, I average about, I want to say maybe 16 classes. So today I had 16 classes.
Wow. Okay.
And that's usually what I average. So I've toned it down a bit since the days in the West Coast. I teach now anywhere between maybe 80 to 90 classes a week. And I feel like that's a good spot for me. It's comfortable. I like it.
Wow. That's really good. Okay, Brian, we're going to skip the teaching clips part. We'll come back to that. Now, do you have lots of very interesting and animated students? I'm going to try to pick your clips here. Do you have a lot of interesting and animated students, Brian?
I want to say yes.
Yes.
I probably have more than the average teacher.
I wonder why.
I guess, what do they say? There's a teacher for every student, or vice versa.
Right.
I mean, but I like the random outburst tendencies that these students have. I think if anything, it makes you a better teacher, because teaching is it's not binary. It's not zeros and ones. You go off beat, off trail, and sometimes you get thrown a curveball, and it's like, how can you adjust to what's being thrown at you? And I think that's a lot of times what is essentially happening with me when I get these students that say these random things or do these random actions, and it's like, all right, you don't have time to think. No lesson plan can prepare you for those kind of things. So if anything, I like it, and I don't mind to an extent. I don't mind the output, or whatever it is that the students are saying.
Well, all the responses, the sometimes not appropriate responses.
Right.
So how do you? I mean, in the clips, and I'm gonna try to show the clip on here. Okay, let's see.
Which one are you gonna pick?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. There are so many that I could pick. I'm just gonna pick them. I think it's the one. All right, the one that you just posted. Let's see. Hang on one second. Let me try to share that. Share screen. Brian's. Okay. Oh, share computer sound.
I know which one that is.
Okay. All right. Oh, come on. Let's see. To share your computer. All right. It doesn't let me do that. All right. Let me use a different. Hang on one second.
Here I am.
So I've got so many browsers open, right? Let me just do it from a different.
Just my face on the thumbnail.
Oh yes. All right. Let me just pick this. I should have. So while we're getting this up, so tell me, how do you deal with because you're very, very composed, and I mean, the most that you would say that's kind of exciting would be amazing. so how do you actually deal with students' outbursts and still remain calm and composed?
I think just sometimes my initial reaction is just have you ever seen a meme of the kid in the car, kind of looking like this? And I think the meme says, the caption's is this real life? The kid just that's sometimes what I feel like when it happens. I'm just stunned more than anything. And I think someone messaged me the other day and said, they call it a Brianism now when I just
Yeah,
say, okay,
Brianism.
amazing.
Yes.
Brian, like, okay, amazing, all right. Moving on.
Yes. Yes. It's
But
awesome.
yeah, a lot of times I just don't know how to react. And I have definitely cracked under pressure where I've just like started laughing because I just couldn't contain myself. Because there are times where I was like, what in the is going on?
Right.
But I think maybe two things contribute to it. I think one, just I was a troublemaker in elementary and middle school, and I gave.
Wow, I couldn't tell.
So yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Tula, Mr. Walker, Miss Nichols. God, I can just go on and on.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So like some of the students like outbursts and their behaviors don't really faze me that much. Like, again,
Right.
to an extent. And I think too, more importantly, just understanding the education system, like being especially in Korea and being kind of knowing how things operate here. And especially I got a lot of insight as well when I went to visit my students in China and talk to the parents. So I think just knowing that a lot of these students have a lot on their plate. Right. You know, if I was a student and I had to take this math class and that English class, or, you know, some of them, they take 6, 7, 8 hours of classes on a weekend, and then they have their VIPKId class. And if I was that student, I would care less about, you know, sitting in front of a foreign teacher for,
It's very stressful. It's very stressful. Yes.
So for me, for me, like any kind of output's a plus. Like, I don't care what it is, just give me something. Because if I was that student, I'd be giving nothing. So that's kind of my mentality with that.
I mean, they're still speaking English, right?
Exactly. Yes.
And they're making meaning with your sentences.
Yes.
However inappropriate it might be. All right. Well,
Right.
let's see whether we can do this sharing now and see whether
Sure.
it will work. I'm hoping it does. It's still asking. Okay, to share your please install man. Okay, let me just make sure. All right. Okay. So I'm hoping that this will play and that people will be able to hear it. Oh, we're not hearing it, are we? We're not hearing it, right? I'm not hearing it. Do you hear it?
I don't, but I mean, the facial reaction is just.
Oh, I'm hearing it actually. Make sure. I'm hearing it on YouTube. We're not hearing it on Zoom.
Okay.
Oh no, we're not hearing it.
So I'm hoping that.
Nope, it doesn't hear. Don't hear. I'm gonna have to stop share. Sorry for that.
Okay.
All right. Well, folks, if you want to, this is a good time to plug in your Instagram account. Again, it's VIPKId_Brian. Go watch the teaching clips. It is so funny. You will see what we're saying about how he maintains his calm composure and how he really doesn't react to whatever his students are saying. I always get a kick out of watching it because the students really try to get you to react. Though you can see how they're like
question.
pushing your buttons and pushing your buttons. The one girl especially, I can't remember what her name is. But it's awesome. We don't have to say the name, but it's like it's awesome. Okay. All right, Brian. Now I'm not able to hear you, Brian. Oh no!
Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
Wait. Why am I not hearing you? Hang on 1 second. Oh no, Brian.
Mic check, 1 2 1 2.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Oh yes.
Okay.
Oh. Wait. We can hear it. We can hear your thingy right here.
Okay.
I know that nieces, and I don't want to know anything. I have learned nothing. I noticed that we can combine to Brian me.
Look at your face.
Next page. Marvin, do you want to sing? Oh!
Look at how calm you are.
Okay, ready?
I am positive that it will rain today. See. I'm positive that Brian will poop today.
I'm gonna stop right there.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing, right?
No, it's just like I said, I just get stunned more than anything. But sometimes the creativity on these students is off the charts. Like, it's hard to do that in another language, you know? I don't know how they come up with some of this stuff, like on the fly.
Yes, that's brilliant though. It's
Yeah.
brilliant. Okay, so you have lots of interesting animated students. It obviously pairs well with you as a teacher because you are very calm, and that's probably why the parents keep booking, right? It's like, okay,
Yeah.
you can, it's not a matter of entertaining, but it's more like, okay, you are able to work with that student
Right.
and be able to adjust, and be flexible with what's happening,
Right,
and
right.
yet they're still learning. So
Right.
that's why you can keep your bookings the way they are. And get all these wonderful students so that you can share those clips with us.
Right.
All right. So we know that you're living in South Korea right now. And obviously there are many benefits to living in Korea, right? So what is one of the benefits that's related to VIPKId?
I mean, probably the biggest one is just how close it is to China, and being able to take, which I'll get into in a bit here, like even going to China, meeting students was kind of a mistake as well. How kind of VIPKId fell in my lap in my spam folder. Like going to China for the purpose of meeting students was not on my radar initially when I went for the first time. So like I said, I'll get into that in a bit, but I think that's probably one of the biggest benefits. Obviously, now with the pandemic and everything, I mean, that's kind of like shut that out for the foreseeable future, but that's probably been the biggest benefit. And I know there are
the time difference.
Yeah, time after. Yes. Sorry, I forgot about that. Yes.
I mean, we're all jealous. We're all very envious of you. Yes, and so you obviously living in Korea is very close to China, and that allowed you to make that. Was it a planned trip? The first trip. Was it just, did you plan to meet your students before you got there, or did you plan to meet your students only after you got to China?
You mean like the first trip?
Yeah.
Originally, so I'm really into long distance cycling, and originally I was going to go there to do some long distance cycling, and I put in my feedback like, hey, I'm going to be unavailable from this time to this time because I'll be, blah, blah, blah. And then I think originally I had maybe just 2 students that I wanted to meet. And then slowly, like, they started contacting, like, in class and stuff, like, teacher, you're coming to Beijing. Can we meet? Blah, blah, blah. And then 2 became 3, 3 became 4. And then as soon as I knew it, like, I had a full schedule. Like, it was like every day, like, bam, 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 bam. And there was even a student who I thought I couldn't meet because I was literally, like, full and they still had school. This was not a holiday or anything. And then one of the students actually took the afternoon off, and his father took the afternoon off to meet me.
Wow.
And yeah, just because there was just no time to meet. So yeah, the first time, initially it was going to be for long distance cycling because I'm really into that. And
so you had put it in the feedback, or maybe told the parents through WeChat that you were going to be away for this time because you were going to China for long distance cycling, and that's how they figured, hey, you're in China, come meet us. Like, we want to meet you.
That's kind of what happened. Yes.
Right. Okay.
And then
go ahead.
No. Sorry. Go ahead.
So how many times have you visited China?
4. Beijing. Yeah, 4 times.
And did you meet your students each of those times?
Yes. After the initial trip, because seriously, like, just even after meeting the first student, I'm like, wow, this is really cool. I just felt like it was kind of, it was cool, very unique, indelible experiences, because like this form of online education, I feel like it's still pretty new. And I think it was a unique experience for everyone. Like, it was a unique experience for the student, the parents, myself, because, it's just, I don't know, like, this wasn't possible 5 or 10 years ago. Like,
yeah.
And so, yeah, it was a really unique experience for everyone on board.
Right.
And yeah, just after that first trip, I started like planning trips just for the purpose of meeting students. And when I tell parents, sometimes it just blows their mind, because they just think like, wow, like, you came here just to like see, I don't know, Phoebe or whoever, Marvin. Like, yeah, it's
awesome. Yeah. I bet they think you're amazing.
I suppose.
Yes, obviously, because they want to meet you, It's like, all right, so how many, as of today, I know with the pandemic, we're not allowed to like travel. Like, as of today, how many of your students have you met?
36. 36. And then like some of the students, they brought like their cousins, classmates. And I think there was a few who were also VIPKId students who I never actually taught. So I want to say in total, like including like just students, like just students,
that are general students that are not your students.
Like, I want to say maybe 45 to 50
Wow. So obviously we can see Brian's meetings as well. Like it's on Instagram. He's got like lots of different pictures, and he describes each picture, you know, like what he does and what they do. And obviously all of them are posted with parent permission. And so tell me, so you arranged all of these visits, right? Between you and the parents, right? VIPKid had really nothing.
They probably didn't even know.
Right, probably, like until they saw your post, probably. So how did you go about making these arrangements? I mean, I know parents were contacting you, so like, how do you go about doing like all the, you know, the legwork to make it?
Well,
like 50 something students or 36 of your own students, that's quite a number of students.
Yeah, like I said, it was all done on WeChat. I try to like first of all, I try to get them on, like try to, you know, connect on WeChat. Sometimes I've been unsuccessful.
Okay.
And I think a lot of teachers, do you know who Sunny is by any chance? Sunny's like
which Sunny?
The WTF Sunny.
Oh, I don't know that Sunny.
I'm gonna set an alarm in the morning, and it's gonna be like Loretta, send Loretta Sunny video. What WTF?
Yes, please do. Yes.
I think if anything, people might recognize me from those videos. I posted them more than 2 years ago in the VIPKid main groups. They're buried in there somewhere. But anyway, even getting him, like I think a lot of teachers at the time wanted me to like get together with him, and I wanted to myself.
Right.
But it was really difficult, and at the last minute, I was able to get a hold of his mom.
Okay.
But I wanted to meet
in the classroom.
Right. I met him after my third trip to China, and I was trying to meet him after the first two. So, but there are situations where I just can't connect with the parents no matter how hard I try. But yes, everything was done on WeChat. I would usually book the flights like maybe, I don't know, 2.5 months in advance to where I'm planning to go.
Good.
And then I messaged the parents individually and let them know like, hey, I'm going to be in town for such and such time. It would be an honor to meet you and your son or daughter.
Right.
And it's really like just playing around with bookings on the booking page, but in real life.
Right.
You have
like, how do you decide where to meet and whatnot? Like, who makes that decision?
Just kind of together. I mean, the parents usually ask like, where are you staying? Like I usually
got it.
You know, like is he bigger cities? It was hostels. Smaller cities, it was hotels because it was cheaper in the smaller cities.
Right.
And and then we just kind of go from there. Meeting parents know better than me when I get there, so they usually can kind of like say, can we meet here at such and such time? Yeah, no problem.
Got it.
Yeah, but it's really like looking at the bookings page and just playing around with bookings in real life, because I've had like my 24-hour short notice bookings, like meetings.
I want to meet you tomorrow.
I've had that before. I've had that. I've had cancellations. I've had reschedules. I even had a no-show in real life. And let me tell you, a no-show in real life is not as desirable as having a no-show here and browsing YouTube or whatnot.
It's not finished as scheduled, or it's not finished when you get paid.
Right. I don't get paid for that.
But Brian, you know, all these visits that you do with whether it's the 36 of your own regular students or, you know, the other students, you become an unofficial VIPKid ambassador. I know it's not an official, but it's like unofficially you're coming in as a VIPKid teacher, right? It's like they know you. How do they know you? They know you as a VIPKid teacher. So you're that unofficial ambassador. So so can you share the story of that very first visit with one of your students? Who did you meet? Tell me all about it.
I remember everything. Vicky, 6 years old. I still see her to this day. I consider her super regular now. When I say super regular, someone who only books with a certain teacher.
Right.
Like in this case, me, I have a good list of them. And every year I go back to the States for anywhere between 3 to 5 weeks. Obviously this year is probably going to be out of the question.
Yeah.
But
especially not to Portland.
Right. Oh, geez. Yeah. But when I go back, I usually don't teach at that time, or I teach very limited hours. But I have a set of students. She's one of them. A super regular is what I call them. Is they don't book with any other teacher.
Right.
They wait until I come back, and that loyalty means a lot to me.
Right.
And yeah, she 6 years old. I remember we went to a restaurant, and it was nice restaurant. I forget what we had. We had like duck or something. And then she's hilarious. She's one. I don't think I've ever posted her on any of my clips.
Okay.
But because she's not really. She's I guess wild, but not at that point.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I don't know if there's levels, right?
Yes.
But yeah, she was hilarious. I remember everything. I remember the discussions I had with the parents about education, which is really like what I like to delve into with the parents. And afterwards, we went to her place, and it was just it was just, yeah, I mean, I walked out of her place when it was all said and done thinking like, wow, this is really cool. This was really cool. I think that was my first
Which
time.
city was this in?
Beijing.
In Beijing. Okay.
This was the, yeah, and after leaving, that was the first time where I really thought like, wow, they really value teachers in a way that maybe I thought about, but not like experienced firsthand, like just being there and hearing the things that they've said, not only them, but like as I continued on to this trip, just some of the things that I've heard is just like, wow, because I feel like for what we do, doesn't warrant, I guess, some of the praise or some of the things that I've heard, which I get to like in a bit here. But yeah, meeting her was just awesome. And then it just kind of went on from there. And I just had a lot of fun with all these trips.
So I have a question, because you said you communicated with the parents, right? And so did they speak English or do you speak Chinese?
I don't. I'm learning Chinese now. And even how I...
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
Through Yo-Yo Chinese, I've been doing it now for 6 months, strictly speaking and listening. And even how I started learning Chinese is another story on its own that happened in China.
Okay.
I can maybe get to that another time. But so originally with my Instagram, what I wanted to do was ask the parents 2 questions and then post it for teachers to see. The first one was, what do you look for in a teacher? And the second one was, why did you choose me as your teacher? And so to answer your question, most of them spoke like adequate English.
Okay.
But I think for the first 4 or 5 students, with the parents, like there were some that spoke no English. And then the student was like maybe a high level 2 or low level 3. So there was a lot of like, you know,
trying to translate,
awkward pauses.
Like
translate.
Yeah.
So
you could use WeChat to communicate.
Yeah, just sitting at the table, Like...
WeChat. So go ahead. Sorry.
But so that was the direction I wanted to go with the Instagram thing at first. But I found that to be kind of hard because of the language barrier. So then I just kind of changed it to have where if parents were able to provide a response in a way that I felt like would have been beneficial for other teachers to know, then I was going to post it, which I've done with some of the posts. If not, I try to find like something that the student said or just, you know, some comment that I felt like might have been informative or beneficial for maybe teachers to know about in terms of just how education operates there. Because that was just kind of my main focus, to like let teachers know that this is not really a game for them.
Right.
You know, like learning English is not like a game. It has the way like how we like learn Spanish or French in our high school studies for like 2 years. Like we don't remember. Like I don't even remember who my French teacher was in high school.
Right. So this is like a serious thing, because this is like a life skill that they want the kids to have, so that college and above, like they have it.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of forced to, just based on like how testing is done there. There's no like really choice. So
yeah. And okay, so Brian, so obviously you said that you're not fluent in Mandarin Chinese, but you were able to communicate with the parents. I mean, they had educate English, so you were able to translate certain things.
Yes, most of them was good enough.
Things.
Yes.
Yeah. So what were some of the things that the parents shared with you, with like what they look for in their child's VIPKId teacher? Because like that's a big thing, right? It's like we want to know, like, do they actually pick, or does the learning partner pick? You know, I mean, I know like some of the kids that I have, the parents actually say, no, we want you. Like, this is why we want you. So what were some of the things that
some were very, so like like I said, I did try to ask them, like, what do you look for in a teacher, and like why did you pick me? I got some of them, they gave really vague answers. Like they would say like, oh, we just prefer male or female, like, you know, like 30 years of age or like lower. But so I want to say maybe between 3 to 5 comments from different parents about my intro video. I had actually 2 parents, I remember, they kind of not really mocked like the intro videos that teachers have, but a lot of them like, hi, welcome to VI, like over exaggerated. My name is such and such, welcome to VIPKId. And I remember there were 2 parents that actually commented on that. They said like, when they went through the videos, it was just all the same, like rinse and repeat. And they said, so I used something called, I think, Powtoon. And it's like,
Powtoon,
yes, you know about,
yes, Powtoon, yes.
So I used that, and some parents commented they thought it took a lot of work. I mean, it really doesn't, but I think there was a few that commented and said, wow, it looks like you spent a lot of time on your intro video. We think just by looking at that alone, we chose you because of that. We thought you put in a lot of time. If you invested a lot of time, then we feel like you might invest a lot of time in helping our son or daughter. So I've had, I think, maybe 3 to 5 parents comment on my video.
Got it.
Another 3 to 5 parents also commented that they like seeing real like classroom photos in the classroom. Like I put classroom photos of my time teaching in Korea in
Awesome.
the intro video with the cartoony like animated clips.
Right,
So I
right.
think if you're a teacher, especially now struggling with bookings and you wanted to
Right.
trying to change things up a bit, and if you are a teacher like in a brick and mortar school, I think that's something you might want to look towards.
There you go, everyone. Take note of that.
A lot of parents talked about feedback. I think like getting parent feedback, and I know there's a lot of teachers that struggle with that and ask for apples. And I think you should try to do whatever you can to try to get the 5 apple feedback, because I had a lot of parents that said they just look through the feedback.
Right.
I want to say
so do you ask for apples? Do you ask for feedback?
I never have.
Okay.
Sometimes
but you do get feedback.
I do. Yes,
Yeah.
I do. Thankfully.
So what were you going to say?
Oh no, I think now, because when I went there weren't as many teachers as there are now.
Right.
So I think, especially when I went on the first 2 trips, I don't think there were as many, like, I don't know, maybe
This was what? Is it 2018?
2018.
Okay.
So I don't think there were as many teachers. So I think maybe for parents, they could have like, chosen some filters and scrolled and kind of selected between like 10. But I think now if they did it,
it's still a lot.
Still,
like even with the filters, it's going to be a lot of searches.
Like even like less than 30, you're going to find how many thousands of teachers. So I think in this situation, maybe learning partners might dictate it a bit more. Like I don't know, if I were to just guess, this is what I would think.
Right.
But yeah, definitely intro video counts. I guess, when I told you the 2 parents kind of were not mocking like some of the videos that they saw, but I think they just wanted to see something a bit different. And I guess obviously
something that stood out, that's different.
And I guess, there's no secret sauce or anything. It's just obviously up to you.
It's what they gravitate to and what's going to speak to them, right? What they can relate to, or kind of like, okay, well, this is what I want for my son's teacher or daughter's teacher. So it's going to be, I mean, we're all going to, people are going to gravitate to us in different ways. And so it's, it's, maybe if that video is not working, maybe try a different video. I've done that. I've in my initial days, like I actually uploaded different videos, and then I've stuck to this one because my bookings have been good. So like, I'm not going to change anything. Like, don't fix anything that's not broken.
Right.
So you kind of shared that. I'm gonna So I actually gave Brian a list of questions, and so I'm just going to tell him. So I'm going to go to question 16 right now. Okay. So Brian, just talk about your ethnicity.
Well, my mom was born in Malaysia.
Is Malaysia Chinese? Chinese Malaysian?
Yeah, Chinese descent. So So yeah, most of my relatives on her side are from either Malaysia or Singapore, and I know I think we had a brief discussion about that, but like before,
exactly, because I'm from Singapore. I'm not Chinese, but I'm from Singapore.
Okay.
So go ahead.
No, sorry, go ahead.
And then your other part, you talked about your mom and then your dad.
Just white.
All right. So the reason why I want to bring up ethnicity, because 10 months ago, right? When I first joined VIPKId, I read on Facebook groups that teachers of color always have a hard time getting bookings. But I personally have not experienced that. I mean, like my first month, maybe like the 2 weeks, there was like bookings was just like maybe 8, but it kept on increasing, and I've maintained anywhere between 150 to 200 bookings a month. Obviously not like you, but this is my part-time job. Like I have a full-time job. That's pretty good, right?
That's impressive. For part-time.
For part-time. And so I've maintained that. So personally, I have not experienced that as a teacher of color, right? I'm just curious, like when you spoke to the parents, did they actually tell you like, oh, we prefer teachers who are, white, Caucasian, or we look for certain things? I mean, maybe they might not have said it directly to you, but did you get any sense of that?
Not really. Like, I don't think there was any, like, I never got into the discussion in terms of like the types of teachers they look for in terms of ethnic background. That conversation never came up to the, like, on the table. So like, it never came up.
Got it.
If anything, they're just talking about like whether they just want like male or female or someone a bit older, a bit younger, but nothing about like ethnic background or anything of that matter.
Right. So basically they want to see whether or not this teacher, like whether they can connect with the teacher. And then I guess the number one thing is when they pick you and you deliver a really good lesson and able to engage with your child, that's when they will keep rebooking, right? It's not whether, oh, I don't like this teacher. Okay. All right, good. So we know that you currently teach a lot of your students that you've started with still, right? you still have them?
Yes,
On
yes,
your
yes.
regular list?
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
Vicky's still with you, and
She's still
the
with me, and
the ones that you've met like in 2018, the different trips, are they still with you?
most of them. I want to say, like, for some reason, like most of the students that I met in Hong Kong I don't really see them that much anymore.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the older students too, like when I
Oh,
like,
so they probably graduated out.
no, I mean, but like because like they enter middle school and then the workload
Oh,
just gets
yes,
like
they get
they
very,
got a lot
very
more on
busy.
their plate, and then they just kind of just drop off. I've had a lot drop off like flies actually this past year. A lot of them that I
Wow.
met, but they entered middle school first year, second year, and then they just don't have time anymore because of priorities onto that test.
Right. That big
So,
test that they need. So this test, tell me a little bit more about this test.
well,
It's the test that they take to get to, like,
I
to
mean,
get.
actually, like two of the most impactful, I think, moments on the trip, two different trips that I had, one in Nanjing and one in Shenzhen, when I had two different parents tell me about this test.
Okay.
And they said in Nanjing and in Shenzhen, the success rate to enter high school is 50%. And that just kind of blew my mind, because I was thinking I thought the university,
Like everybody goes to high school, right?
yeah, or I thought like maybe the SAT or the Chinese version of the SAT is what they worry about. No,
Right.
it's to get into high school, like 50%.
So what happens to those who don't get into high school?
From my understanding, there's like trade school options, but they're not like looked at the way, like, I guess it's not like in the States where like you want to become an electrician or plumber and can make it. Like for them, it's kind of looked down in a lower like standard.
Right.
So yeah.
that was one thing that stuck with you, like this very, very stressful, right? It's very stressful. They need to make sure that they can get into high school, because after that it's like the high school to the university. That's like a big thing as well.
That's another big one as well.
That's a huge one. I just know that from students that I met here who are from China, because I teach in a university, and so like they always share about like how it's very stressful, and it's like it's a rat race. It's like a daily rat race. All right, so that was one of your memorable thing that you remember. I mean, might not necessarily be a good thing, but it's like, well, it taught you a little bit more about like, oh, what these students face, right? Was there any other memorable things that you want to share?
Well, just like, I mean, I just wanted to just go back on that just for a bit. That was definitely something that I'm gonna remember forever, because I just never knew about that. And just hearing the parents say like their kids are just kind of both of them said like their parents are their kids are kind of average. Actually, one of them had like a bit of a learning disability. They said like there's something wrong with his brain at a young age, and just said like he struggles to keep up with the workload, and the kid he's only 8. And
wow.
And the parents said that he sometimes will stay up until 11 o'clock at night to finish homework, and sometimes he can't finish it all. And they're connected on WeChat with the teacher, and the teacher will call out the students and the parents if they don't finish their homework, like in front of everyone. Like obviously in the States, like that probably won't fly at all, but there is different. And the parents told me there were so many times where they got called out, and it gets to a point. They said it gets to a point where they just pick and choose which ones they think should be prioritized in terms of like what should be completed. And so like that was another conversation what I had when I just said like, well, what are your expectations? And they just said like, we just want him to enjoy learning. We don't want him to get any more stress than he already has. And like I've had similar conversations like this, but nothing quite like this. And I was never aware of him having like a learning disability at any point. And I see sometimes you see some posts of a teacher diagnosing a student just based on the 25 minutes, like saying like, oh, my student didn't respond. And it's like a lot of times we don't know what they're going through.
Exactly.
And it's not fair to diagnose them. Like they're not stupid. They're learning a language.
Try learning a different language with different characters.
It's hard.
I mean, like, it's not even, it's like the Chinese characters look so different than the English alphabet, right? It's like, it's a different character altogether. It's like asking me to learn Tamil or Hebrew or Arabic. It's going to be so different,
It's like night and day.
Yeah, exactly. So you've met all these students. Now give us the dynamics, give us an idea about the dynamics of the teacher-student relationship after the social visits, right? And also about the parent-teacher relationship, like now, what is it like in the classroom as well as outside?
I mean, honestly, like nothing much has really changed. I mean, if anything, I just know the parents' expectations, like just because I've connected with all of them. But in terms of like the relationship, I guess with the student, it's obviously strengthened because we've actually met. I guess you could say that with the parents as well. But aside from the trips, I don't really interact with them on a like day-to-day basis. It's just like the only time I interact is if I'm taking time off.
Okay.
And I'll just
Then
be like,
you
do you want me to
tell
save this spot? Yeah. And then
Right.
sometimes they're like, oh,
And
can you save the same spot?
They don't like WeChat you, like, or send you messages all the time after each class or anything like that?
No, nothing
Okay.
like that. Like once in a while, I'll get a student that sends a video like, here I am cycling next to the river or something. It's like, yeah,
Okay.
cool. But like,
All right.
nothing like that. I don't get spammed
Right.
or anything, or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I don't get really asked about, hey, my student got this question wrong on his English test. Do you know why? Like nothing like that. So
Okay.
nothing's really changed, to be honest. Like
Okay.
nothing's really changed.
Maybe just strengthen. Maybe it does strengthen
Yes.
your bond with because they've seen you in real life, so you're not just something that's virtual. You know? Like
Right.
You're this live person that they've met and probably played with, and like play. I saw some of those pictures where you were playing with your students and doing all kinds of poses, right, in the
Yeah.
pictures. So you're a real person to them, not that those who haven't met is not real.
Right.
It's very different when you have actually met the person in real life, and it's like, okay, I know this person now because I broke bread with this person. I've eaten a meal, or I've played a game with him or something like that, right? So I have a question here from YouTube. Kevin wants to know, how does Brian motivate a student that doesn't want to learn? What do you do in your classroom?
Honestly, I remember there's one girl I had a few years ago, and she only booked with me, and I had no idea why. And I think I posted maybe one clip on one of the what do you call I don't know, what do you call the thing on Instagram when you hit the plus thing and you
mean like on hit the plus thing, like your story?
Is it a story? Yeah, thank you. Like
yeah,
I'm still an Instagram novice with all this. I think I uploaded one with her, but like there was a time where she would just do arts and crafts like all day
during the lesson.
Yes, and she only booked with me, and I tried every feedback. I said, can you please add me on feedback? I want WeChat. I want to know what your expectations are for her name was Maureen. And I think for situations like that, at that point, I just Dora the Explorer it because like
Dora the Explorer. Brian the Explorer.
I've had a few students like that, and then they only book with me. So is it something that I'm doing right or wrong, or like do the parents just don't care? Do they have like boatloads of money to just blow? So for that, I just Dora the Explorer it. The one thing that does grind my gears is when students alt tab like between windows, like you can see it. You can see when the light flickers, and you like say you ask a question and you just see like a blank stare, and then you'll see like the light flicker like 10 seconds later, and they're like that grinds my gears when they don't pay attention.
What do you do? What do you do when they do that?
If they keep doing it, I've learned how to say like, what are you doing in Chinese, or are you listening in Chinese? So sometimes if I say that in a stern voice, it kind of startles them a bit. But there's some students who just, no matter what you do or what you try to do, like they'll just keep doing that. So if anything, I just try to mention the parent feedback. But even then, sometimes it doesn't work because sometimes parents don't read it.
Yeah, exactly.
You just Dora the Explorer it at that point.
Yeah, I've got some of those students as well. The one student I remember, like he'll it's right there, and I can see it, and I know he's like playing a game or answering somebody or whatever, and he'll deny, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have the fireman call your dad right now, and he's like, okay. All right, so I know we're still in a pandemic, and obviously it's any chance of visits, like you can't even plan for like 12 to 18 months because we have no idea when this pandemic is going to be done. Right,
it's crazy.
But would you like to, like, once this is all done and over, would you like to go visit your students again?
If it's within the next 12, I told myself, if it's within the next 12 months, I want to try to make one more big trip. Originally, I had 3 more trips planned because I did set a goal to meet 50 students. And I set that at the very beginning. And I was actually, if COVID never, came and shook the entire world, I would have eclipsed that by now. If it's within the 12 months, yes. If it gets any longer, I'm probably doubtful, just because of life and whatnot.
Right. Are you planning to come back to the United States, or are you still going to hang out in Korea or somewhere else?
I'm not coming back this year. Like
I wouldn't encourage you to come back this year.
You couldn't pay me to come back, honestly, with what's going on. I usually do come back every year. Even when I was a teacher here from 2011, 2016, I would come back every year. But I think this year is gonna have to take a rain check because of what's going on.
Definitely. Yeah. I hope you still get to vote though.
Oh, yeah.
Absentee ballot.
I think I
absentee
can.
ballot.
Right. I gotta look at that, but I think I can. Yeah.
Do your part. Do your part. All right. So, what is your biggest and probably the most important takeaway from visiting those 36 students, right? VIPKId students that are your regulars in person? What's your biggest takeaway?
I think they just inspire me to do better and do more, honestly, because life doesn't stop for these students. And I think these students are really resilient and gritty. Can I share one quick story really fast?
Absolutely. You can share.
I shared this once before, I think a year ago on a previous live, but there was this Phoebe. She was a second student I met, and I met her for a day and a half in Tianjin, which is a neighboring city of Beijing.
Yes.
And I remember we had a great time on Saturday, and then I remember Sunday morning we went to the university. Her mom's is a university professor, and I remember we played this game where we would go around the university, and she would we just chit chat, and the mom would be like, "This is the engineering building. This is the lake on the outskirts of the university. This is the basketball court. Blah blah blah." Like, give me a rundown where all the buildings are and everything, all the facilities, and then she say, "All right, you got 2 or 3 minutes to find this building." And we rented bikes and we did this, and it was really fun.
Okay.
But Phoebe wasn't there. Because she had homework to do, and then she had some 3-hour class to go through. And so it felt weird because it was only the second student and parent I met, and we had a great time the day before, but it felt a bit awkward, just being with the mom. And but just life doesn't stop for these students. Like I said, I had situations where parents had to cancel. I even had a student in my last trip in Shenzhen who couldn't make it on the day we were supposed to make it, so they waited for me in a McDonald's for nearly 4 hours for me to finish meeting the student that I told you that had the little bit of the
the learning
disability, and they waited for me in McDonald's. And when I got there, I think at 11 or 11:30 p.m. on a weekday, she had taken a VIPKId class, and she was still doing her homework. And she's a middle school student that I see her once in a while, but not as much as before, because they're preparing for that big test. And I mean, I think just the biggest takeaway was just how gritty and resilient these students are. And going backtracking just a little bit, when one of the parents said that 50% of students get into high school, and he said word for word, if they don't get in, they're considered losers, just in society. And I just think about that, and I just think if I was in China, being a student, just given the circumstances, raise my hand, no question, loser, because I just don't know. You're just, a lot of parents also, another takeaway is a lot of parents, they don't like English just because of the way it's taught, but they know it's important. So I think a lot of times, more than anything, more than doing 1 slide per minute, completing the material, I think more than anything, parents are just looking for a spark between the student and the teacher. Does my son or daughter click with Brian teacher or Loretta or any other teacher? Because for these parents, they know the system that they're going to go through, because the parents went through it as well. And they're just looking for that spark. So I think that's more important than anything. So if you're ever worried about not finishing a class, or you feel oh, I have this many slides that I didn't finish, but you see that priority booking request afterwards, and you give detailed feedback, you're good. You're not going. You don't need to make a post on Facebook being oh my God, I didn't finish. Here comes the 1 apple feedback. I see so many of those, and I wonder how many of those actually got a 1 apple feedback.
Right. So what you do in the classroom matters. How you interact with the students. And I always say, when you leave that class, if you left that class with, your students and the parents who might be sitting next to the student, feeling really good and feeling that you have made a difference in that 25 minutes, right, of that child's life, they will rebook you. They will remember you. And they were we want, I've got priority bookings from students that I've not seen lately, because I've changed my schedule a little bit, and they keep sending me, although I say, I can't do that time anymore. I can't do that time anymore. I know why they're coming back, because they want that style of teaching, that warmth and that connection, right? And so they will keep trying. I unfortunately don't have them on WeChat. I have WeChat, but I don't really use it. I only use it to communicate with my friends actually who live in Hong Kong.
Oh, okay. No, it's nice to connect. It's really nice, especially if you have a nice core of regulars. It's really nice, because then you can just save the slots for them or whatnot.
How do you ask them to connect with you? Do you do it during class, or do you put it in the
feedback? I put it in the feedback, but a lot of times that's really hit or miss. Now I've actually learned how to say it. I've actually learned in Chinese how to say if they have WeChat, and then where's your mom or where's your dad? So I've actually used that a few times. And it shocks the hell out of the students. So I've actually said it a few times in Chinese
Yeah.
or in Mandarin, and
Yeah.
that's been more effective.
Yes. Yes.
Because if you say like, do you have WeChat? Sometimes the parents don't know what that is. Like
right.
in Chinese,
right.
it's Wei Xin. So like maybe
Yeah.
for those who want to remember like Wei Xin,
Yeah.
like
Wei Xin? Okay.
and then you can just say like Wei Xin and then hold up your little
Just hold
code
the
and like,
phone with the
all
code.
right, yeah, hold on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good tip, Brian. So any lasting piece of advice for VIP Kid teachers who are watching and listening in, whether it's bookings related or classroom stuff? I mean, you've spoken quite a bit about that already, but any lasting piece of advice, like one thing?
I think word of mouth from the parents' perspective goes a long way as well. And I think really I've gotten a lot of good feedback on focusing on thorough feedback. And I know there's no knock on these programs or templates that kind of like, where you just plug it in and then you get your feedback done in like 45 seconds. But if you can spare a few minutes and give thorough feedback or teach them something that was not in the lesson and then make a comment of it, I think that really goes a long way. And to this day, even where I am now, like I still don't do any cookie cutter, like copy and paste type of feedback. And word of mouth, just this month alone, I think I've had 4 new to me students that went on my schedule and say like, oh, I'm Dawn's friend, or oh, I'm I can't remember who, but like I had at least 4 students that said like, I'm such and such's friend. And then 2 of them actually showed the photo. I'm like, oh, wow. So like, if you're struggling with bookings, I think just do the best you can with the ones that you do have.
Right.
Give thorough feedback. And then you never know, like if word of mouth travels, then you might get a few extras.
I totally agree with the word of mouth, because I've had students who actually say, I'm so and so's cousin. I mean, they're in different cities, and they're like showing. They did the same thing. They show me pictures of. It's actually on WeChat, like pictures that they've posted or their parents have posted, and they show me the picture. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that student. Yeah, word of mouth does travel far and wide. Especially if you're doing a really good job, right? It's like, yeah, you'll get those.
Without question.
Yeah, and so it's amazing. All right, so I had like somebody here said, oh, okay, I only know hi, how are you in Chinese. So what are some other phrases that you use, Brian, in the classroom that are in Mandarin? You want to give us?
So one that I use, like I say, 你听到吗, which is like, are you listening?
Yeah, 你听到吗? Are you listening to me?
That's the one that I use. Yeah, that's the one that I use when I see this action going on, like alt tabbing.
The alternate tabs and yeah. Yes.
I guess, I don't know, if you wanted to know, like, do you have WeChat? It's like 你有微信吗?
你有微信吗? Okay.
Thank you. 你有微信吗? And then I still got to work on the tones, but
but the 4 intonations. Yes.
they'll get it if you say that. They'll get it if they say that.
Right. The advantage of living in Singapore, growing up in Singapore, is that I was exposed to so many Chinese friends, right? And so and all those Chinese shows, and so you learn by osmosis, which has really, really helped me, because I don't usually use Mandarin in the classroom at all, but when I need them to kind of like listen up, or somebody's just looking really, really blank, like give me a blank stare, like deer in headlights kind of thing, I'll start saying something in Chinese and they go like, oh.
right.
Yeah. So Brian, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us and for answering all these awesome questions and being just amazing. I know it is very late right there in Korea right now. It's like almost 10:30, right? It's 10:24 right now. Oh no, 11:24. Sorry,
no worries.
It's 10:24 here. It's 11, almost 11:30 there. Do you have you have a full workload again tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yep. Another 15,
do you take a break
classes.
At all? Do you take any breaks like during the week, or do you teach every day of the week?
No, I take Saturday and then some of Sunday off. So I'm always off Saturdays. Parents know that, and then most of Sunday I teach a few hours at night. But
okay. All right. Well,
no, it's been fun. Loretta, it's been fun.
Yeah,
thank
you so much. I really, really appreciate it. And folks, if you are not on Instagram, or if you are on Instagram, make sure you go look for VIPKId _Brian. He's on there. You should watch it. His teaching clips are awesome. If you're not on Instagram, make sure you go sign up and be on Instagram, because just following Brian alone is worth it. I mean, like really, I
appreciate it.
I actually just go and look for his profile, right? Just to like search through and see, what clips he's posted on that day. Like, and if it's a day that he hasn't posted any new clips, I'll just watch like all the previous ones. because they light up my day, because it's so funny.
I'll actually show you something really fast. So like, I actually keep track when I teach. I keep track of like if a student says something, I type the name and the date. And I think this month alone, I can actually, I have an external webcam. I could actually show you. It's just a matter of putting them together. I like putting them together, and I get a kick out of it, editing it and whatnot. But this is just for the last 2 weeks. So can you see this?
Oh, yes. Oh, wait. So you actually take notes of what's happening?
Yeah, like I have the dates and then the student's name.
And so that you know which clips to go to.
Yeah, exactly. It saves a lot of time.
Oh, wow.
I get a lot of these students, but it's just sometimes it's time consuming sometimes to like put it together. But like I said, I enjoy when I do have a bit of time. I do enjoy putting it together, and like obviously with the reaction, like I'm glad that with all the positive comments and whatnot. Like I'm glad that other teachers I can make their day.
Do you have a YouTube video? Do you have a YouTube channel?
I made one like a few years ago, but I don't like do anything.
You should start back on, because whatever you're posting on Instagram, you could do it on YouTube, and it could be an entertainment channel.
I thought about that. Like I do have a channel, but I haven't done anything with it in like ages. I think I have like maybe two or three like.
Well, you could add to it now. You've got lots of clips. Yeah, you could have lots of clips. You could go very quickly. All right, folks, thank you so much. And again, if you're not following Brian, you should follow Brian, and you should follow me as well. I am teach _and_reach. Both on YouTube as well. Teach and Reach on YouTube, obviously, because you're watching it on YouTube right now, and on Instagram. And thank you very much. And I'll see you around on Insta as well as on Facebook.
Yes, for sure.
All right, Loretta. Thank you again, Brian. Bye. And good night, Brian.